ReZero Season 1's 18th episode still holds firm as the best episode of anime I have ever watched, and it's literally just two people talking. This episode, and by extension the entire third arc of ReZero, is such a wonderful deconstruction of its protagonist, Subaru Natsuki, basically addressing every single thing people had to say about him, and letting that mask of the annoying cringe otaku fall off to reveal what is truly underneath. To understand just how important of an episode this is, we gotta go back and talk about the foundation built for this incredible content. ReZero is an isekai, and I know what you're thinking when you hear that genre, but hear me out. Natsuki Subaru is from Japan and brought to this world in the nation of Lagunica. The major issue for Subaru is that he wishes he were an actual isekai protagonist. He had all these preconceived notions about being isekai'd, but his expectations quickly came up short. He wasn't instantly matched with an anime wife, and he wasn't brought in with an incredible power. Instead, the only thing he is capable of is dying. He has the ability to return by death. As if he is trying to reject the reality of not being a super gifted isekai protagonist, he makes it everyone else's problem. He puts himself in the center of attention regardless of the consequences. He thrusts himself into situations against other people's wishes because he wants to be this idea of a macho man. He dehumanizes the people around him and only imagines them as static video game NPCs that only serve to benefit him. What Subaru is running away from is this idea that has been haunting him here that he is not special. The mass introduction of the Knights of other candidates in Arc 3 serves to reinforce that idea as well. Subaru was hoping that he would be this all-powerful knight, but unfortunately for him, Reinhard serves the role of an OP isekai protagonist better than him. Subaru was hoping that he would have unstoppable risen charisma, that everyone would flock to him due to his status of being isekai, but Julius is there to have more tact, respect, and honor than he had, and he is still more powerful than Subaru. Ferris exists as another male knight who isn't tied to some toxic masculine ideal like Subaru is, despite them both being physically weak. Aldebaran is like the final nail in the coffin for Subaru. The last thing he has left, that he was isekai'd, instantly falls through as yet another man from Japan stands before him. Subaru is left to wonder if there are men stronger than me, smarter and more charismatic than me, not tied down to old ideals like me, and also people like me here, then what do I have to offer? Arcs 1 and 2 inform this behavior of his, and while he definitely isn't a bad guy, he has some pretty toxic ideas for both himself and the people around him which really pop out in Arc 3. He had saved Emilia from Elsa, and then saved himself and Rem from the curse that would have killed them, and these successes would end up fueling that fragile ego that was building. Of course, it wasn't all so easy. Failing and failing, experiencing death over and over, would build up and slowly tear him down. This mix of anguish and righteous superiority is what defines Arc 3 Subaru. He makes a promise with Emilia, which he immediately goes back on, injecting himself into the situation regarding the royal selection and making an absolute fool of himself, projecting to hell and back about knights only being special because of who they are related to. He was entitled, insecure, and with a desperate need to be humbled. This is another one of my favorite episodes. His egotistical meltdown was a long time coming, and he got what he absolutely deserved from it. Subaru had this unhealthy perception of women at the time, feeling like they owed him everything due to efforts that they were unaware of, and because Emilia wasn't kissing the ground he walked on and stood up for herself and what she wanted, he has a meltdown because his fragile masculinity and ego feels like it's being attacked. Subaru comes from a society where to this day, masculinity is a heavily sought after characteristic, and the social expectations that are drilled into you can lead to toxic behaviors. Subaru demonstrates this toxicity when he tries to suppress his true emotions in Arc 2, and when he maligns himself for crying in Emilia's lap. It demonstrates itself in the coming self-destructive meltdown with Emilia. It demonstrates itself as Subaru feeling the need to protect all these women around him that are far more powerful and capable than him, at great expense of his own health and sanity. Because of that meltdown, Emilia draws another line. We're done. If you're not going to respect me and my boundaries, if you're not going to respect our promises, then we don't have to continue this friendship. Subaru's ever-expanding hero complex only gets bigger and bigger, feeling entitled to Emilia's respect because he saved her. Arc 3 is a heavy critique on Subaru sticking to his masculine cutout that he has been straddled with for so long, showing him where his obsession with feeling the need to protect these women against their will take him, and showing him how isolating his possessive mentality is. Now, Subaru feels like he was forced to go it alone, with only Rem now by his side, and getting into increasingly worse situations. The village gets attacked, the White Whale appears, and the Sin Archbishop of Sloth becomes his enemy. The isolation he feels from his loved ones, repeated brutal deaths, and searching for a solution leaves him to do nothing but look inwards, especially as he has a mirror of his obsession with Emilia staring back at him. This parallel of Rem's is something a lot of people don't really talk about. She is obsessive and says cringe shit to Subaru just like he does with Emilia, but by the broader fandom, she is put on a pedestal. Tying all of your worth, your value, to a sole person is an impossible standard to meet, and it's not fair to the person involved. She says herself in the fight against the witch cultists, "You can't take my reason to die." Rem is someone who needs to find herself just as much as Subaru. Unfortunately, What I love about this stuff is that the narrative doesn't feel the need to baby Subaru. It understands that his actions are absurd, his mentality is toxic, and that he desperately needs to grow up after being a weird otaku. It never makes him out to be right, often utilizing lighting and framing to not have to explicitly denounce Subaru's actions, but making the viewer physically cringe at his behavior. You don't need to spend time preaching to your viewers and treating them like they're dumb. You can just construct a scene and through visual tools, show them what you don't endorse and find to be problematic behavior. You can also demonstrate that with narrative foils, like Petaljuice was to Subaru in this arc. A deranged man who screams about feeling the love of the witch, and in one of the loops, as he is killed by Julius, can only scream out almost verbatim what Subaru had said to Emilia prior, about how after everything he has done for her, she still won't give him the love he feels he is entitled to. But of course, before Petaljuice's defeat, is the most incredible episode of ReZero, Episode 18. Episode 18 is Subaru giving up. A situation that grows more and more impossible, and he has nothing to do but finally let his mask slip in front of Rem. He knows himself. He knows that this was all an act, a way to look cool in front of these people of the New World. He admits everything that we have been left to speculate about him, as he acknowledges his powerlessness, his greed, his ignorance, his slothfulness, his entitlement, stating it's amazing that he can live like this and not feel ashamed. He is forced to look inward, talking about how, before he was isekai'd, he never did a single thing worth mentioning. And as he puts it, this is the result of, quote, all of my powerlessness, all of my incompetence is the product of my rotten character. Wanting to accomplish something when I've never done anything goes beyond the limits of arrogance. The cost of my laziness and all the wasteful habits of my life just ends up killing both you and me. I have no character. Even when I thought I could go on living here, nothing changed. Subaru has been forced to acknowledge everything about himself externally. He always knew this, but he viewed the transportation of this world as a new start that he failed. He spent so much time worrying about how other people would see him that he ended up pushing them away. This 20 minutes of straight-up dialogue between two characters tells us much about Subaru, his thought processes, his mentality, his true feelings, and all of it completely adds up to how he got here. Being isekai and becoming all-powerful, while being drowned in pussy and thrust into important positions when you're a low-life otaku, isn't accurate. Natsuki Subaru is accurate. Feeling like you could accomplish nothing, struggling with the dash connections of your previous life, trying to make a bombastic start with this new opportunity, and feeling to hold it all, while you have the embodiment of your obsessive love directed at you and feel you can't meet their expectations. What picks up Subaru isn't just purely love, it's the difference between his perception of self and how Rem sees him. Emilia told Subaru that the version of her he sees must be amazing, and in episode 18, Rem says to him that the version she knows of Subaru is amazing, a very intentional parallel. For however powerless Subaru actually is, for however tactless he truly is, for whatever insecurities lies deep within his soul, and for how mundane he may feel, Natsuki Subaru is the hero who saved Rem. For all of his faults, he still wants to save people, and Rem helped Subaru realize that noble ambition he holds. She helped him realize that not everything he touches turns to dust, that Natsuki Subaru is not poison incarnate, but sometimes his touch can do good in this world. Sometimes the expectations that people hold for you can be toxic and damaging, but sometimes the expectations people hold for you can be life-changing or eye-opening. To see another person's point of view on an existence you view as abhorrent. After episodes and episodes and episodes of failures, Subaru finally gets told his best quality, that he just can't give up, and that no matter how tough the situation is, he will always find a way out to save people. And this episode continues to age wonderfully as this expectation that Subaru used to find inspiration in slowly turns into something negative. As in Season 2, he feels the only thing that he can offer to his loved ones is his own life, pushing his soul to the brink of annihilation because it's all he can think to do. It makes him feel nuanced, it makes him feel like a real person. I also just like the fucked up little dudes, so that helps. Also, people who were genuinely mad about the I love Emilia thing, it would be far weirder for someone to heel turn the second another woman showed affection for him instead of sticking with the person he has more interest in. Not that Subaru doesn't love Rem because he does, and that's a bit more explicit in the novels, but just because you dump all your fantasies onto someone doesn't make them want to be with you, which I'm sure people would agree with should the roles be reversed. ReZero Season 1 Episode 18 unzips Subaru's character, leaving all of him exposed in a wonderful 20 minutes of introspection, self-reflection, self-doubt, alongside a wonderful reconstruction of the person Subaru wants to be after 2 arcs of incredible setup for all of Subaru's character flaws and showing how those affect the people around him, without denying him the chance to be better. I love this episode, and the runner-up is probably Parent and Child from Season 2. ReZero fucking owns, and if you haven't already, you should watch it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the funny YouTube algorithm. You can check the description down below to follow me on Twitter, where I'm objectively correct all the time. You can also join my Discord, where we talk about My Hero Academia, ReZero, Jujutsu Kaisen, and stuff like that. And you can also now become a YouTube member, which basically just gives you access to behind-the-scenes content, a little badge on comments, and live stream chats, and access to some emotes. Only do so if you want to support the channel, though. But that's about it, though. Thank you for watching. See ya.